Birdman.
See plant eaters. But this one feeds on, would you believe it, gilgies and fish and little animals that are living in their water. But anyway, he actually claims a territory, and he goes around and he has this incredible, he kicks water into the air, and at the same time he goes this, and of course this announces his area, and if any other male comes anywhere near his territory, they're very, very poor flyers, but they paddle their legs and beat their wings and run across the top of the water. And sometimes you'll see one male chasing another one for maybe 100 or 200 meters along the surface of the water out of his territory. And he claims this territory, and of course his whistle lures the females in. After mating, the female goes and builds her nest, she incubates the eggs, and she feeds her young. So all he does basically is protect an area suitable for where his wives can be. At Hertzman's Lake, 1 year, I think it was about 1989, one male musk duck immediately by our centre had 3 separate females sitting on eggs in his territory.
Wow. And it's really interesting. I love the idea that they basically say, oh, that looks like a nice spot by the river or by the lake or whatever it might be. I think I'll put a bid in for that, and I'll mark my territory with a nice noise, and then I'll wait for the good-looking girls to come and sort of see whether they fancy a bit of it.
Well, apparently what he's doing is, by the way, because they are diving, both the blue-billed duck and the musk duck both belong to a group of ducks, and there's only just 2 of them in WA, called stiff-tailed ducks. As they go along, they've got their tails sticking straight up in the air. And both of them are divers. The bluebill, though, he and she make a monogamous get-together, whereas now the musk duck itself, actually, while he's doing his feeding during the off-season, he actually finds an area where there is ample food, and that's one of the things a lot of people don't realise about when birds are nesting. The choice of the nesting time of the year depends upon the abundance of food that they eat. For example, in the winter time, when it's pouring with rain and there's very little flying insects and things around, you don't get birds who are insect eaters doing the breeding, because they've got enough trouble finding enough food for themselves. But when the rains come and all the new grasses come up and all the new plants start to grow, the plant-eating ones, so all your ducks, your swans, etc., do their nesting in the winter time. Now, the birds who are insect eaters, they have to wait for the warmer weather to come, and then they emerge. When the insects come out, then the insect-eating ones do that. And, of course, during that time, that's when the flowers are out. And, of course, you get some of your honey eaters doing that. But the birds who eat seed, they have to basically wait for the next period when the flowers have produced their seeds, etc.
Fantastic. I love it. You've taken us down to the lake, which is beautiful. Eric McCrum is with us, the Birdman. We're talking about musk ducks and bluebill ducks. If you have a question for Eric, we'll get on to some of those in just a moment. 0437 922 720 if something has caught your fancy. Let's just talk about the grebes now, Eric.
Yes, so most people who think when they see birds swimming in the water, imagine that all the birds they see swimming have got webbed feet. Not so. Now your ducks, definitely, ducks, swans, geese, all have 4 toes, 3 of them are webbed. And strangely, your pelicans, your cormorants, your shags, the darters, who are fish eaters, they have 4 toes on their feet, and they have webbing, but they have webbing not just between 3 toes, they have webbing between all 4 toes, because that extra webbing allows them to swim faster to catch the fish. Now, grebes don't even have no webbing on their feet at all. Instead, on either side of their toes, they have a thick, what would you call it, flap? Yes, a thick flap on either side of their toes. And because their toes are fairly long, they're practically useless for walking. And because they can't walk, they basically have to build their nest in the water. So they gather together reeds and grasses and things like that and pile them together to make a floating nest. They put their eggs inside the nest there. And strangely, if they see you coming towards the nest, they hop off their eggs and the babies, and they then pull all the grass over the top of the eggs and then dive into the water and swim away. And of course, when you arrive at the nest, all you can see is a big pile of grass and nothing. When you go away, they come back, peel the grass back off their nest, and sit back on the eggs or young again.
Clever. Now we know next time we take a little walk down by the water, we'll have a little bit more knowledge as to what's actually going on. Can you answer a few of these questions, Eric?
Yes, go ahead.
Great. We've obviously we've got some dialogue, some conversation happening on our Facebook page. If you want to join in there, but just a few from Facebook, a few from text. Carmel Connolly says a bit off topic, but I wanted to ask why birds don't eat mulberries. The parrots go crazy on the almonds, and I can always tell when the figs are ripe by the feeding frenzy. Yet no bird seems to touch the mulberries.
Oh, yes, they do.
Ah.
The silver eyes are particularly one of our little birds, about canaries, this big canary size, called the silver eye. When we were kids, they were called greenies because they're all green. And these are birds who love eating succulent fruits, especially those that are ripe. And here in Parkerville, or Sawyers Valley here, we've got quite a few places near here where the mulberry trees there. And you see these silver eyes going through there eating the ripe fruit. They won't touch the green ones, of course. And of course, when they go to the toilet, they leave these purple stains, black stains all over the place. So quite a few of the, especially the silver eye. I haven't seen honey eaters eat them, but silver eyes definitely.
Okay. Barry Steele says, we love our local ospreys in Erskine. Also, I'd like to know about the amounts of these birds in our area and about the mating habits and movements of the offspring as the birds keep the same nests.
Oh, yes. In fact, that's one of the characteristics of most of all the eagles. Once they build their nest, that nest becomes part of their territory, and they will make sure that in the off-season, the pair who own that nest in the area near there, they will drive off any others who might be coming in to think that this might be a good area. So your ospreys, I think there's one nesting down near Mount Henry, there's another one near Alfred Cove. They've got nests down there. And they come back, and yearly, would you believe it, they add more nesting material to their nest. And up on the Abrolhos Islands, some of the nests there are over 2 meters high, and they have actually been recorded there for nearly 200 years. From the time the first Dutch sailors came through there, they actually reported seeing these nests on the island. And of course, every year, darling, could we have a couple of bits more stick here? And it just keeps on adding on until you get these enormous nests.
That's great. Another one from Sally says, are the red-tailed cockatoos still endangered? I'm in Gidgegannup, we rarely saw them until a few years ago. Now they're here all the time and in huge numbers. They're obviously breeding due to all the noise when feeding their babies.
Yes, well, basically all our major big cockatoos are threatened simply because it takes nearly, I think it's, it's from 200 to 300 years for a newly growing tree to produce a hollow big enough for these birds to nest in. And so it is a critical thing that every time an old tree gets cut down, if it had a nest hole there, birds who used to nest there are now just literally just haven't got anywhere to go. And you may have heard last week, or it was a part of this week, where Simon Cherryman from up here in the hills,
yeah,
he has been building nest boxes and very successful. And Kaylee Griffiths, she has got, I think, 3 nest boxes on her property near Mahogany Creek, and she's got those nesting there as well.
Hi, Eric. Eric McCrum is with us, by the way. Text saying, hi, Eric. Willy wagtails make a distinctive noise at night and in the early morning. What does this mean? Also, what does the noise mean when they make a clicking noise? Are they territorial?
Oh, yes, definitely. All creatures who are basically meat eaters are very territorial. You'll see any time a stray willy wagtail comes into a willy wagtail's territory, they will drive them away from the area, because literally the area that they are living in, they have to get enough food for themselves, and if they're breeding, to feed their young as well. So they do have a territory but the clicking, I'm not too sure about this clicking. I haven't heard the willy wagtail. It is usually, any clicking is usually what we call a contact call, where they're just letting the other willy wagtail nearby know exactly where they are, rather than going that instead of doing that which is a territory call. The little clicks are usually I'm over here type of call.
Just a couple of very quick ones now. First of all, this one: is it wrong to feed wild birds? In our oldest village in Kubluk, we get galahs, cockatoos, crows, magpies, lorikeets, etc. Should we be feeding them?
There's controversy here. I feed birds here. Apparently the people don't like doing it. But if you go to the idea of just saying, every time you have a urban sprawl going on, all the area where your house has gone, all that food area which was once there has now gone, and you're literally driving the birds who used to live there into smaller and smaller areas. So literally, by just rationale, you're cutting off their food. So this is why here at where we are in Sawyers Valley, we have bronze-winged pigeons, we have 28s, we have the currawong, we have magpies, we have those all coming into our food dishes here. I feed them here simply because I know that every time a new housing area goes up, all the food area for the birds that live in that territory has gone, and they're just literally running out of food.
Okay, and one more about the cockies. I have white cockies visiting my place, and I've noticed some have a tinge of pink and a bit smaller. I'm wondering if these birds can cross with the pink and grey cockatoo. That's Mark sending that text.
Basically,